Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The wild card series begins in both the American League and the National League tomorrow. And if you're a Braves fan, all eyes will be on the Phillies and the Marlins. We are 100% going to have an NL East filled NLDS. It's just a question of who. And listen, everyone's kind of just been assuming, the Phillies are going to win this series and they're going to play the Braves. And it's understandable. I mean, first of all, we know that place is going to be rocking. The bank is going to be rocking. I know they're playing the Marlins, which isn't probably the sexiest matchup for them. But when I look at all the potential matchups they could have played, this is probably the one that they did not want the most. And I know that kind of sounds crazy because the Marlins don't exactly strike fear into Braves fans. But the Marlins have been pretty good against the Phillies over the last two seasons. I think they're over 500. If not, it's very close to 500. And what the Marlins pose in a 3-game series, which if you're a baseball fan, you have to hate any playoff series that's 3 games. But I guess that's what you get when you're a wild card team. Their pitching is legit. And you get Luzardo on the mound, then you're going to get Braxton Garrett. And I know Sandy Alcantara's injured and stuff. But the Marlins have the pitching to make this matchup interesting. And that's really what it's going to come down to. Can they somehow – these guys are going to have almost out-of-body performances if they want to win this thing. But they do have the talent and the pitching for that to happen. And I'm interested to see what happens. Obviously, I think the Phillies should be big favorites. You're playing all these 3 games at home. They are the better team without question. But it's a rivalry. It's an NLDS. It's a divisional matchup. And you got a lot of experience on both sides against these pitchers, which makes it an interesting 3-game series.
Yeah, I think everybody's expecting the Phillies to win this game. They've got the star power. I mean, Bryce Harper just is an electric player. I mean, it sucks to watch him play for Philly, but if you're just a baseball fan, Bryce Harper's got to be high up on your list of guys to watch. It seems when the lights are brightest, he's at his best. He lives to be in those big moments. I'm expecting the Phillies to win. I think most people generally are expecting the Phillies to win this. I know Aaron Nola hasn't been good. We were just talking about it. He hasn't been that good this season, but he's still a horse. I mean, you could argue that the Phillies have as good of a 1-2 punch with him and Wheeler as any. Could go toe-to-toe at their best with Max Fried and Spencer Strider. Obviously, I'm a Braves fan. I'd give the tip of the hat to the Braves, but that's as good of a 1-2 punch as any when they're at their best. And the lineup is just, we all know the long ball plays in October, and they can mash. I mean, I'm expecting also the experience factor. You have to, give the Phillies credit. They've been here. They've been knocking on the door. Whereas this Marlins team is kind of young, inexperienced, haven't really been on the big stage just yet. I'm excited to see what this series holds because, again, it's baseball. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those things where if the Marlins come in with the right mindset, I don't think they're going to be scared of the Phillies. Like I said, they've had some success against the Phillies over the last 2 seasons in the regular season. Postseason's obviously a different beast, but they've got the horses on the mound that if they can suppress the Phillies offense and make this, listen, what do the Marlins have to lose? Like they weren't even really expected to be here. They're playing with house money. They got to win 2 out of 3. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. On the Phillies side, I think you're so right about Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. Like people were always talking about the Phillies, and this might be Braves fans, and they're like, oh, well, Aaron Nola is not that good. He's having a bad year. And I'm like, guess what? Aaron Nola in October, I'm trusting that guy. He's been there. He's performed. He's been an ace of this Phillies staff for almost a decade now. I mean, the guy's an absolute stud. Zach Wheeler obviously having a fantastic year. I think he leads all pitchers in F4 in the National League. He's another legitimate Cy Young candidate. I mean, he'll probably finish top 5 for the 2nd year in a row. These guys, they've got as good a 1-2 punch as anyone, but can the Marlins muck this series up, put some pressure on them? Because you don't start feeling the pressure until you're down 1-0 or you're in a 1-1 game. If they can put some pressure on Philly, because there's no doubt that Philly, there's a potential for them to come into this series and think about what's next. Think about the Atlanta Braves. They've had the Atlanta Braves on their mind for months now, and that potential NLDS matchup. If they get caught sleeping against this Marlins team, who's going to be playing loose, I expect them to play loose. It's a 2 out of 3. That's all it takes. 2 out of 3. That's all it takes. Obviously, Philly's huge favorite. I expect them to win, but this is a weird, quirky series for the Marlins for the Phillies that I think they probably wish they had played like the Diamondbacks or someone like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those two things are the only way that the Marlins win. They're playing loose. They have nothing to lose. All the pressure's on the home team, the team that came in with one of the highest payrolls in baseball, one of the biggest expectations in terms of World Series. Marlins, you've kind of overachieved to this point. Phillies, if they come out, play tight, try and press. Marlins are out there playing loose, just playing baseball. I can absolutely see an upset, but like you said to end that, everybody is expecting the Phillies to win this game. On paper, they're by far the best team. But how often does the best team win the World Series? Very rarely. Anything can happen in October. I'm excited to watch this one.
Yeah, I'm just excited for October to finally be here. I feel like the Braves this entire month has kind of been just like they have to play these games. Like they have to play these games. Like they don't really mean anything. We're here now, and we get to watch this game from the couch and see who we get to play. And I'm expecting a more competitive series than I think. But obviously, I favor the Phillies. I think the Phillies are the second best team in the National League. And listen, I want to beat them, so let's bring it on. Coming up after the break, we're going to break down Week 5 in college football.